Hello and welcome back to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, founder of Grace and Ease Productions. And today I'm excited because let me ask you this first. Have you ever seen people that talk about their work in a way that is just so incredibly natural and it's fast and people are like literally throwing their credit cards at them? Now, have you tried to do that for your own business, but nobody was like tossing any credit cards at you? Yeah, me too. So you are definitely not alone. And you know what? The data is absolutely clear. In our social media, in the world of AI, people just really have like this short attention span. And if you don't make the case quickly for why someone should hire you, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So today we're going to go ahead and take a look at, really what are the current insider secrets of short messaging to attract your clients with a leading expert on the topic, my friend Marina Stamos, who is the CEO and creator of the 1 Minute Talk Client Attraction System. Now, she's going to share with us the top 3 strategies that you can start utilizing today, and I'm sure a ton more than that because she's a wealth of information and knowledge, and she gets her clients crazy awesome results. So please help me welcome her to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. Hello, how are you?
Thank you for having me, Shay. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited too because you really have that first impression. So when you're getting up at a networking gig or a speaking engagement, or you're at a virtual live event and they're like, oh, 1 minute, 30 seconds, introduce who you are. And you end up seeing a lot of people with like that deer in the headlight look.
I've been there.
Or you have the people that are like, oh, well, I do this, that, and the other. And you're like, I really didn't understand the words that just came out of your mouth, because you used a whole lot of jargon that I don't understand. So please share with us how the heck do we do this better?
It is the question that I tackle every day, and I have we're coming up on 20 years, right?
Oh my gosh,
now doing this. So the first thing I would say is set the intention within the first few seconds to state very explicitly the outcome of working with you. Now, I'm sure anyone who's been in this game for a while is like, oh, I've heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. And some people can operationalize that pretty quickly. And some people, and I used to be one of them when I was doing it for myself, can be like, well, I do this and I do that. And it's kind of like, yeah. And it's like, ooh, yeah, what? Right. And I have been there because we serve people. Your audience is multi-talented, extremely highly intelligent, operate on a lot of levels. And that's why you're good at what you do for your client. And that's why you are like the biggest gift when people are smart enough and lucky enough to find you and hire you. But sometimes on the other side of the marketing message, it can be like, well, how do I pick which thing I do? So I think the best thing to do is to give you an example of the day that I woke up to what I was doing wrong in those situations. This is about like 8 or 9 years ago. And I was running a communications company. That's kind of ironic because I struggled with my own. I was good at it for others, but really couldn't do it for myself in a quick intro situation. And I was at a women's expo. There's like thousands of people there. And there were these little breakout like networking events. And we were going around the room. I can't even remember what jumbled garbage gibberish I said. Well, I really do like messaging, and it's really about finding your voice. I don't know. I blocked that out, right? So we're going around the room, and this one lady says, I'm a pediatric nurse. I also do nutrition coaching for children with autism who have gluten intolerance. All the chatter stopped. People stopped texting. They looked up. It was quiet. And like 3 or 4 people went right to her. I was like, okay. Now, I had seen that 1,000 times before and 1,000 times since. But for some reason, like that was the day it really like landed. Oh, yeah. Then she spoke on a stage. She was a speaker at that event. She talked for 1 minute. about, invited people to a back table, same thing, gluten intolerance, autism, children, meet me at the back table. Whoosh, people went right back there. And again, she just spoke for a few seconds. I mean, the same idea that she said in a few seconds then applied to her 1 minute. And I'm like, let me check this lady out. Go on her website. And she has quite the practice going. She has coaches. She has certification programs. Like, this is a easily a seven-figure operation. And even though she provided services for a wide range of special needs, it seemed that her lead marketing message was children with autism, gluten intolerance. And I was like, okay, yeah. She just goes right to she names one person, even though she does a lot of help. And she mentions a really specific problem that any parent is struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward to today, when I'm in a situation, in a situation like that, I'll say, I'm a business coach, focus on speaking. I work primarily with solopreneurs who are trying to add $100,000 to $300,000 to their income without a big team, without any costly, scary tech, and whose constant struggle is with overwhelm. That's it. That's all I say.
It's like, it's very clear. You can picture in your brain, oh, either that's me or I know somebody, right? So like with the doctor example, you go, oh, I have a friend whose child is autistic. I'm not sure if they're gluten or not, but maybe they need to connect with them, right? With the doctor, maybe not. You know, for you, oh, I'm a coach that wants to be able to hit those kinds of numbers. I don't have a big team and I'm overwhelmed. Yeah, let me go ahead and talk to you further about what does that look like. It's very clear picture in your brain of who that is and who would be like, oh, let's find out more. So it's really just an opening kind of conversation starter, correct?
You just hit literally all the high level strategies. One, is your talk shareable? Would someone know who to share it with? You just hit it.
Mm-hmm.
With just those few words. And that it all does is make you say, okay, I want more. It makes them lean in to kind of say, okay, because when you pull back, when you stop in that situation, you're not going to make an offer in an 8-second intro. You're just saying what you do. And when you're doing it right, when you stop, then you create this void, and nature hates a void. The person who is meant to be your next client kind of leans in and says, oh, well, how do you do that? And if you just get them to do that or tell me more, you've won. That's how you know you've kind of hit it. Yeah. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say, unleash your inner awesome, find your voice, right? And I used to talk like that. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, it's not like I used to hear somebody say, can you physically put something on the table, and get you away from the airy, non-tangible things I can't grasp in my brain when I'm listening to you? Can you physically put something on the table? Do you understand what overwhelm is? Can you understand the numbers, right? Like, I'm looking to hit an income. It's like, okay, I can see that much income on a table, right? It's like that concrete stuff versus like, airy fairy X, Y, and Z, and you've got this moving into the orbitals of I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Okay, great. Fantastic. So somebody that you're supporting and working with is like, okay, great. I understand the importance now of having this 1 minute talk. But how does that then support me in making more money? Like, let's be honest, everybody wants more clients. Everybody wants to be making more money. They want to do it in less time with less team. How in the world do we make that happen for a solo business owner?
Absolutely. The 1 minute talk is as much about that actual 1 minute asset, but much more on a much larger scale. What's important about it is it means that you have a clarity that might be eluding you. It means that you know exactly who is your early adopter, that person who's ready to say yes to you without you having to jump through so many hoops. It shortens the sales cycle. If you can't get someone to, and let's say you're in the right room with the right audience, if you can't get someone to say yes to your next, whatever your next step is in the end of that minute, it's just proof to you that somehow the messaging is off. Once then you've nailed that, you then have the true data that will turn. Let's say you want to do a webinar, and I am all about, I teach webinars, people hire me to write them for them. I mean, I'm all about it. But we don't start with the 60-minute asset or the 45-minute asset. We start with the 1 minute, prove that someone will say yes to it. That's your framework. You basically have the skeletal framework of your 10-minute, your 30-minute, your 1 hour, your 3-day. So it's about the asset, but it's also about the clarity. Now, also, I want to make sure that this is, sometimes they're like, I always get nervous that people might think, oh, is this a get rich quick scheme? Just talk for a minute. There's no such thing as get rich quick scheme. Okay. But it is a get clarity quick method. So, and that's really what I teach. Like usually, so some people have a natural ability to just talk about what they do and get people to throw the credit card. I was not one of them. I needed to find a new systematic way to ask different questions to get to that clarity. Like, so if you're filling out an avatar worksheet and it's saying, like, what makes you mad? What breaks your heart? What changed? Like, those things for me were a wormhole. Like, what makes me mad? Don't even get me started. Do we have 2 weeks? I would write myself, I would have this like useless pile of like all of my musings and frustrations. No, I ask a different question. Like, what is your person Googling right now? That, like, just that simple thing, that when you know that, and I help clients figure this out all the time, you're like 70% of the way there, right? Okay, so that was a little bit of is it all right with you if I give a quick demonstration of how?
Yeah, I think that would be really super helpful. Please.
Great. So I work with many people in the health space, in particular weight loss, and it's a very crowded space, right? But there's still plenty of room, right? There's still so many people who need it. So, but you still have to stick out. You still have to differentiate yourself. So one person, I'm going to call her Jane Smith. She's a real person. She's a little bit of a composite, but she's a real person. But like many of my clients, she never told her husband that she had invested in me. So I'm not allowed to actually give her real name. But anyway, she came to me and she was already out there making money. She would make a few thousand a month, and she was using speaking, and she used to lead with things like love yourself skinny, nourish your mind, body, and soul. And that's to your point that you were saying before about the airy fairy orbital. That's what I was thinking when you said that.
Yeah.
Not that it's not true that that's what she's teaching them. She is ultimately teaching them, but it doesn't sound like, no one's Googling, how do I love myself skinny? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. It's that simple. Like, this ain't rocket science, but it's that simple. So, okay. She's like, I know that I could be doing better with my talk. She had heard my talk, and she's like, I can't talk about what I do in that simple way. Great. So this is what we did. This is what we came up with. So she had a speaking engagement she paid to be a speaker sponsor. She had 1 minute to talk, and she was allowed to invite people to a back table. And it was at a wellness event. It was kind of woman focused. So it was filled with her ideal person who paid, $47 or something to come to the event. So, this is, again, your early adopter. Instead of sitting there watching free YouTube videos, this person actually took time out of their day, paid $47 to sit in that room. And as you well know, all of those things mean, they're more of a yes. They're in a place of yes.
Yes.
Okay. So here's the talk. She gets up and she says, hi, I'm Jane. And 5 years ago, I was 100 pounds overweight. My health was at risk. I tried everything and I lost all hope. Now I'm at my ideal weight. I fit into my skinny jeans and I feel at peace with food in a way I didn't think was possible. How? Well, it started with a unique breathing method that I created. It helped me calm down in the face of cravings and neutralize their power over me. I've created a special retreat where you learn this powerful method and the rest of the 7-step reset. It has helped hundreds of people to calm cravings, lose weight, and finally make peace with food. To serve you at the highest level, I accept 7 people. There are 3 spots left. If you know this has to be your time, meet me at the back table to book your complimentary peaceful eating for weight loss. Going to the back table now. You can do this.
So good. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, because you're like, 1, okay, there's a breathing technique. 2, there's like 7 other things that I'm going to be learning at this retreat. 3, there's only 7 spots available, and there's 3 of them left. There's an urgency there for me to go, okay, if this is really resonating with me, I have to jump up and take action, because I want to be one of those leftover 3 people that, is going to go into this retreat and learn all of these other pieces, so that I can also fit into my skinny jeans again and not have to be worrying like I am right now about what it is I'm eating. Like, all of that just in 1 minute is everything I'm like checking off in my head. That's amazing.
And notice how simple it is, right? It's really simple languaging.
Yeah, right.
And
it's all language. It's not the love myself thin. It's not. I'm like, what does that mean anyways? I'm loving myself thin. It's like, is it a corset to love, or what?
So here's exactly, you just hit on so many that I have about 35 strategies mapped out for 1 minute talks. And I know it seems like a lot for just 1 minute, but you your instincts are so amazing. You just hit on many of them. I mean, you just mentioned the top ones. So then now what happens in this situation? And I've had a front row seat to these moments now for years. Okay. So guess what? There were about 70, 80 people in the audience. People like dashed back to that table. She booked 27 calls, and out of those 27 people, 8 people purchased. And that's pretty normal, like a 30% out of that. So 3 of them grabbed the 3 spots for the retreat at $2,500 each. 1 of them went straight into private coaching, $7,500. And then 4 people went into her group program, which was $1,000 for 3 months, something like that. So she made $19,000 right after the event.
$19,000 from a 1 minute talk.
Exactly. Then in the future trainings with these people, several of them upsold into the private, and she added another 15, 16. So now we're around 35. Now there are expenses to running that retreat and being on that stage. Even after that, though, she still was walking away with around 28,000 pre-tax net for talking for 1 minute, but she just has 1 VA. And this is how an individual can use speaking to build a 6-figure business without running themselves into the ground, without any tech, really. I mean, nothing like crazy, like some crazy funnel, and do work that they love and make something out of nothing. Just take their expertise and their passion and turn it into the money they need to fund the life that they deserve. And that same 1 minute framework then, and this is how she introduces herself at a talk, at an intro, when she only has a few, at a networking rather, when she only has a few seconds. Hi, I'm Jane Smith. I'm a weight loss coach. I focus on women over 40 who've been struggling to lose weight for years and whose biggest problem is with cravings. That's it.
Yeah, you can see that person in your brain, or it's you yourself, right?
And she helps, of course, everyone, plenty of people who are different ages, genders, whatever. But the really important thing is, and this is one of the key things, is what I call, she mentions the problem behind the problem, or the real problem. And the problem behind the problem is cravings, meaning that they will self-report as cravings. And it's actually woven throughout the talk. Calm cravings, make peace with food, neutralize the power of cravings. It's mentioned like 5 times in a 1 minute talk, because that's what is really the problem. Everyone knows how to lose weight. Little kids know how to lose weight. But for the majority of people, and this was part of her own journey, it was cravings that were the problem. That's what she was Googling in the middle of the night. How do I stop the cravings from taking over? So that was why, and this is something that I teach, is you have to be really intentional. If it's not part of your messaging or even part of your coaching, you better make it that right now. That what is the real problem that's holding them back? What holds back my person typically is overwhelm. They're just overwhelmed. They don't know which thing to do first, because there's so many messages. Do this to grow your business. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this.
There's a lot out there. Well, and what I see a lot of people are doing is they're in phase one, like out of the 5 phases of events that leverage, right? We've got 5 phases, and they're in phase 1, 2, or 3, trying to do a phase 5, leveraging for growing their business. They see all the gurus out there doing the challenges and doing these events and doing this, that, and the other, and they want to try and duplicate it, but that's not where they are. So you have to go, okay, this is where I'm at. So I love to hear that you're like, okay, starting out, and even if you've been in business for a really long time, we were talking earlier about how you're constantly kind of changing and tweaking your 1 minute all the time, depending on who's in the room, right? If I'm talking to my mastermind group of 6, 7, 8-figure business owners versus a group that has maybe 5 and 6-figure business owners in it, they have different pain points. So I'm going to adjust my 1 minute for those different types of groups. Do you see that you're constantly kind of adjusting and supporting your clients with tweaking it a little bit every once in a while?
Absolutely. And yes. And then the simultaneously with that though, is to also something that people it's easy to go into shiny object. I battle shiny object all the time. We also have to simultaneously though decide we are going to stand for one thing. We can make minor adjustments for the room, but to lean into one thing and just keep repeating it and get really good at doing this one thing over and over and just finding the next, how to refresh your audience, keep the pipeline full, but to not fall into the trap of like, oh, I better do this. I better change it to this. Now I better, major changes. So my thing that is absolutely consistent is, even though I teach sales, I teach the full, pricing your offer, creating your offer, because these things are important to deciding what you're going to talk about, how you're going to close after. They are what make the talk actually able to make you money. But I don't lead with all of those things. I can be tempted to, but that backfires. I just have to always say, if you want to grow a client-based business, you're basically by yourself. You want to make this at least $100,000 situation without a big team, without tech, and without, and just using your words, I'm your gal. And I always touch on those things. No matter where I am, I do keep coming back to that. It helps me to focus my efforts. Like I have to keep upping my game. Like, how am I going to help my client do that? Mm-hmm. As ChatGPT and AI, and then the incredible surge of people starting online businesses.
Yeah. Well, even AI, like it just will spit out based on whatever question you give it, right? So you can say, give me a 1 minute talk on this, but it doesn't mean it's actually going to convert.
Exactly. Or be consistent with who you are, what you're, and absolutely. So, so what I also say to people is, now, a lot of times a very common problem that people will have in this moment is, oh, I don't want to go so niche. I can help people. They're really fearful of it. And I understand that. I've been there. And it's always been a best practice. But right now, as people are overwhelmed by AI generated messages and marketing, and just a surge of just chatter out there, your micro niching is your strength. It is your answer. It is the weapon in the war for attention. I don't like using that kind of languaging in general, but it really is. It is actually, you're the best employee, the best marketing associate that you never have to pay. It is a micro niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me give it, if I could give an example of, so I was hired by she was an executive career coach, like elite level career coaching. She had been an associate vice president at Wells Fargo, which is a Fortune 50 company, and a woman in a male dominated space. And when she came to me, her messaging would lead with, start with, how to build relationships to advance your leadership in corporate, to advance your corporate career. And that is true. That is what she does, right? And that is how, but Here's how we completely up-leveled her languaging. So now when talking with her, certain things about, again, as I was using the 1 minute talk method for client attraction, and it's a very systematic series of questions that I'll ask. What came out of it was, and this is the new title, how I became associate VP at a Fortune 50 company as a 350-pound woman. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Gets your attention.
It does.
Makes you start thinking, picturing that, right? Now the answer to that question is still her original work, like building relationships. She still was the same coach. She still had the same content, but it was from the marketing perspective. That is through that lens. Not that she can't help people who are of, any weight, but that's a micro niche.
Yeah.
That happens to have bazillions of people in it, but it's still a micro niche. And so it's shareable. Go ahead.
And shareable, yeah, for sure. So like we've talked about a number of different strategies here. I know you mentioned like 3 of them. From what I can recall, you said the problem behind the problem. You've got your topic and go deep on that topic. You like in your talk, you talked about the money. So, when you can talk about the money, talk about the money, right? And a couple of examples of all of those as well. You mentioned in here, like you've got a process that you walk your clients through. I'm curious, do you happen to what is the best way that our audience can go, I want you to pull that out of me? What is the best way to get a hold of you to help me do that? And do you happen to have a gift for our audience as well that they could start getting their teeth into things?
Absolutely. I have both. So they can get a PDF that is my #1 fan favorite. It's a super quick read. It includes that 1 minute talk, Jane's 1 minute talk that I just recited. And don't worry if you're not a weight loss coach. It doesn't matter. It's the arc, it's the ideas, it's the pacing that you can copy and paste and make it and apply it to to anything that you are, any industry. You can also get on a free strategy call with me. It's called Ideal Clients in 1 Minute. And we are going to look at where you are in your journey. What are your goals? What are your financial goals? What are the 2 or 3 things that you could do right away to improve your ability to attract clients, and who are that high dollar client who is really already looking for you, and you just need to give them a few words so it breaks through the noise in their heads and they're like, oh, that's who I need to talk to. And that would be what we would discuss in the call. And it's a 45-minute call. It's a strategy call. Usually people pay at least $1,500 for that much of my time, but I love to build a relationship, learn more, hear what you're doing. It's not going to be any pressure. This is about value for you. So, and they can do that with 1minutetalkfreeoffer.com, 1 minute talkfreeoffer.com. I know the link will be
in the show notes. Absolutely.
In the show notes. And again, you can get the PDF, and it's also going to give you, the PDF is also not only going to give you a talk sample, but also strategies for how to inspire 4 key emotions that I forgot to mention. There's 4 key emotions of all profitable talks: hope, curiosity, trust, and action. And you're going to see prompts and tips on how to inspire those 4. And then again, you can also book the call.
Beautiful. That's really super generous. Thank you so much. My last question for you is, what is a takeaway or a memorable note that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Don't be afraid to say that I make this change in your life. You will attract the person who's ready for it. You're absolutely going to rise to the occasion, and you're going to make sure that they do get that result. Don't be afraid to be very confident. Boldness, fortune favors the bold. This is your time to be bold. whether it's a few seconds or an hour or anything in between. Just stay what you do. Make it clear that there's one specific outcome of working with you, and be okay with that. Don't hold back.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being with us here today and sharing all of your knowledge. And I also want to thank everyone for listening and joining us on another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I'm excited for you to take all of these lessons and these strategies and the resources that you've learned here, start implementing them so that you can create even more impact in your world. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.